Okay, so
I like
hello.
to hear this.
You are Ian?
I am Ian. Hello.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm John, and I'm joined by Ian and Graham from the Norwich Amiga Group, and we're just going to do our usual Thursday chat about stuff. We've got some pictures and stuff to throw on the screen and stuff. How have you both been? Because, Graham, you weren't on last week, and...
No, I missed that one.
Yeah,
oh, I did watch it back.
Good.
So that seemed to go quite well, so that's good.
Cool.
I had fun. I felt like I'd been to a rave afterwards.
Oh, because we had all the psychedelic, all the demo scene stuff we were looking at, weren't we? All the crazy graphics and stuff that can be done. There was some cool stuff on there. Like a lot of stuff that I hadn't seen before. Quite enlightening, really. I was very happy to see all of that. Obviously, I didn't see you last week, Ian, because we weren't on camera last week, were we? Because we were doing the... we had all the demo stuff on the screen, so didn't really get to see much of you. So it's nice to see you all again. Hopefully...
And yourself.
Oh, thank you very much. Hopefully, it's only going to be a couple more times of doing this, and then the next time that we stream will hopefully be from some form of a new look style social meet, as obviously we're opening up again in a couple of weeks. Quite what it looks like in terms of like the community events and stuff, we still need to work out, but I'm sure that in some small capacity we will be able to begin doing the proper physical meets again, which will be fantastic. So very much looking forward to that.
That's a real positive, isn't it? I think the fact that you, in addition to open up again, I think to start with is a really good thing. You know, that will look different for a little while, I'm sure.
Indeed.
But,
yeah,
it's a step in the right direction.
I've been in the last few days. Basically, we're doing like a proper announcement next week explaining how it all works and stuff. But basically, we've halved the amount of screens in the cafe for obviously distance and whatever. But we should, depending like how many people come together in the same households or the same bubbles or something, we can still fit enough people in to make an event worth doing. But if it means that we end up running things like over 2 nights or something like that and splitting things up, I don't know. We'll have to just sort of play it by ear as far as that goes. But the main thing for us is obviously
work first.
Yeah. But the main thing for us is obviously it's you know, next week would be when like school holidays normally start, so we need to make sure that we're there for, you know, the fortnight crew, and then once we know that works, we know that anything else can work. So. We should be all good to go for that, but I've got no choice but to open now because we'll run out of money by the end of the month. So, so we've got to do it. So I've got to get you guys back in. I've ordered my Coronas. They were ordered today. So Buds have been ordered as well. So you guys are all sorted for whenever you guys want to come down. So what were we going to talk about tonight? Were we looking at things from your collection, Graham, or what was the plan?
It partly was. Yeah, it partly was.
Okay.
I think, well, last week we did demos last week. We looked at the demo scene. I think one thing we haven't really discussed on these streams that much, or we have touched on it before, is there's lots of new games coming out, which perhaps a lot of the people who watch this who aren't so involved in the scene won't really realise. Especially over the last 4 or 5 years, I'd say it's increased about exponentially really every year. The amount of games, not just downloads, but physical box games with manuals and discs and stuff. I've got quite a lot of them with me down here, so I thought we'd go through them. I think the scene's really active at the moment, and there's some quite genuinely impressive games being made. That certainly wouldn't look at a place 25 years ago. Some of them as full price games. Some of them are probably not quite that good, but still would be decent budget games, and you know, it's done to really good standards. So I thought good to tell people how vibrant it currently is, I think.
Okay, all right. Would you like to have a look at one of the games that we have pre-prepared to discuss this evening?
Yep, so we've got some pictures, I believe, of some of the games.
What of all of the things that you sent me a list for, what would you like to look at first? Or have you forgotten the list? I can just bring them up one by one if you want.
I'm going to be honest with you, I've forgotten the list, I've forgotten the order.
Okay, so how about then?
About getting out, but we're that ship for sale now, so...
We'll make it up as we go along. It's all good. Let's go. Let's have a talk about a game called Worthy. I've never heard.
Where have you?
I've never seen this, but I can. It's kind of like in the old days where we didn't have video gameplay to show us what a game looked like. It was all just done from like box art images or like magazine pictures. But from one image, you could work out exactly what the gameplay was like and exactly how it played and how it controlled and everything you needed to do. So I'm going to try and work that out from this picture while you tell us a little bit about it, if you want.
Yeah, okay. So this came out a couple of years ago. I've actually got a box here, so if you bear me a second.
Nice.
It's a big box as well. So
I can't see the box. I'm going to have to move the picture out of the way a little bit.
Oh, sorry, your picture there. Cool.
That's all right. You carry on, mate. I'll work around you.
So yeah, big box, coloured box like the old days. It's got like a sleeve and it's got a manual and some discs.
Nice.
One disc in it and a CD. This is quite a puzzle game, really, an arcade puzzle game. So single, you can probably see on that screenshot, single screen. The idea, again, you might be able to work it out. There's sort of gems on the screen. So you click them all at a time. And you get to the exit. But it looks like quite a simple maze game, but it isn't. It's very deceptive. It's actually a very, very clever puzzle game. And you have to think a certain way, and you get monsters that have certain patterns, and so they've got really intelligent kind of behaviours. And yeah, it's a game you have to play really to kind of appreciate how clever and how tricky it actually is. 'Cause I think if you approach it like, oh, it looks like Pac-Man or something like that, you'll die very quickly. And you have to really think on your feet. At the time that you don't have to complete at the time that you just get points for it, so it's not a big deal. But you have to think on your feet. You think very, very quickly and react quickly. So about doing things in a certain order and executing that in the right way. And sometimes there are multiple ways to do things, but there's usually an obvious, stupid way and a clever, cunning way. And it sort of rewards you for thinking on your feet and being a bit outside the box. So that was really popular. That was just a couple of years ago. It was a very, very popular game. Got a lot of good reviews, a lot of sales, which is really encouraging as well. I think it's ways to wonder if people make these boxes and produce all these manuals and print all these discs and labels and post them. Is that worth their while? I think it's a demand there for these things. I think that proves beyond any sort of doubt that there is for something of genuine quality like that. It is a genuinely outstanding, polished game. It looks like a commercial game. It feels like it, and it's probably worthy of its price tag.
I mean, I wouldn't know any different. I mean, my Amiga knowledge is, well, compared to you guys, I'm quite inexperienced, let's say. So I wouldn't know the difference if that was like an original game from like early 90s or whether that is something that was recent. How recently did this come out, and how much is it?
This was summer 2018, so 2 years ago.
Oh wow!
And it cost. It probably, I can't remember the exact price now. But that's fine. I think it must have been between £25 and £30. I think for the whole package. They want to make it cheaper to start with, but the big box version, I think they're different levels. You can get like budget version, you get digital versions. They're cheaper. But the full kit with the CD and the floppy disk, the manual and the poster and all sorts of stuff in it was about that money. But I think the game, the production value of the game and how long it took to make more than justifies the price tag. It does hold its up much. Any mainstream commercial game you'd pay that money for within reason.
Oh yeah, for sure. Forgive me if it's an obvious question, and if you've already answered this. Is this made by like one random person, or is it a development team that's made this one, or do we know?
Yeah, there are a few people involved. They're usually usually one programmer. There's might be a couple of artists or someone does the music. So a small team of people who work not even the same country, probably on the same continent sort of actually. But yeah, they're all sort of amateurs, and they all work distantly, which is probably quite appropriate at the moment. Yeah. And yeah, they've done it all in the spec. It took a long time, as these things often do. I've done this sort of thing myself, and it takes forever. Top marks to them, really, to be honest.
Awesome.
It's fantastic.
What do you think, Ian?
This is one of the ones I've actually played at a meet. Played Graham's copy of it. It's great fun. And I was going to say, I mean, I don't know if if we know if the physical version is still available presently, or whether it's digital only now.
Yeah, I thought that the physical would be long sold out, to be honest with you.
But I think it's a very good model to be able to do like an initial pressing of a box with all the bells and whistles, and it's it's not just the floppy disk like you said. There's poster, CD, all sorts. Because the people that are playing this stuff now, like us retro heads, we do like a box. We do like a box with extra gubbins in it. So I think it's fantastic marketing to do that for the crowd that want it. And then once that initial pressing is sold out, to still be able to sell the game in digital form. It's a good balance. But yeah, the actual game itself, when I played it, I didn't get to play it for very long, unfortunately. But yeah, it's great fun, and it's on my list to pick up at some point.
Yay! Right, let's get rid of the old picture. Right, let's resize that. Actually, what I might try and do is keep the pictures on the screen. Actually, I'm going to put them, I don't know, somewhere. I'll rearrange them on the screen as we go through. Then we can have a nice little collection to look at as we go through. Right, up next then, I'm going to go through them in order. That way I know I won't miss any. Zero Sphere.
Yep. I think you might see this one as well, actually.
Yeah.
This is, again, looks like as a platform game. To show you that video for this one, actually, because it doesn't quite do it justice in the screenshot. It's a really hard thing to explain. But it looks like a very sound platform game. If you look at the picture carefully, there's like quite a distorted image at the top.
And the bottom half particularly as well.
And the bottom half as well, yeah.
I thought that was just a dodgy screenshot that I got.
No, that's actually how it's meant to be.
Oh.
It's a really old game. You kind of like, you can see only on your level as like that normally. Otherwise, the view's distorted, so you've got a very narrow field of vision. So as you move and jump up and down, it will change. The distortion will change appropriately.
Oh, okay.
So you hold down the fire button. There's like a squint bar at the top, and that allows you to see the level normally for a short time.
I was going to say, what's the squint ability? That's a new one.
Yeah, so it's really quite clever. It looks like it's like a demo scene kind of effect, actually. The way you sort of distort the graphics like that. I think they've kind of the developers have made it. They've probably essentially just based the entire game around that mechanic almost. It's quite a clever idea. So it looks like a standard platform game. You collect like diamonds against the clock, get the exit. So that's fairly standard stuff, and has that classic kind of Amiga platform game look to the graphics. Quite colourful, quite bright, quite bouncy music, that kind of thing. But it plays really differently to a lot of other things. I think it's a very strange concept to get your head around. It takes a bit of adapting to. I think just your eyesight more than anything else. I think it's quite a bizarre way to play a game. But it works really well. It's got like 40 levels on it. So it's quite a big game. There's no passwords, that's popular old school in that sense. But again, that came in a nice box. That is on a CD32 disc as well, and that came with a manual, poster, and a yo-yo of all things. It's a bit strange.
Do you like physical things in collector's editions? That's what we like.
Yeah, absolutely. I think actually that's another thing. I think there's a definite market for this sort of thing in terms of actual opening boxes, isn't there? I mean, there's a real appeal to it.
Yeah.
I think so. When you buy a game, you probably pay more money than the game. Yeah, you're looking at the critical view. It's probably not worth that much, but it comes to supporting people who write these games and getting a nice box on your shelf with lots of things in them that are nicely done, and people enjoy putting them together. They've done it out of for the passion of it, really, not because they want to make money.
Yeah.
I think it's you're more inclined, well, people like me and hundreds of other people are more inclined to buy these things and support the people that make them.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. I mean, I'm a big fan of puzzle games where the puzzles are based around like graphical changes, things like Fez and stuff like that is like a recent one that springs to mind.
Yeah.
So I love all that kind of stuff. It's just, but the art style of that, I mean, it's obviously quite limited by the hardware, but I also just love those nice, clean style platform games. But yeah, very good. The first thing I thought was, because you play as like what appears to be like a little ball thing.
Yes, pretty much.
That just reminded me, I mean, I'm sure the game's actually nothing like it, but it just reminded me of a game called Whizball, which was probably one of the very first games I ever played on a computer. I think it was called Whizball.
Whizball, yeah, that was a C64 game as well, I think, and I suppose that was the Amiga version of that, but it was very much a...
You were a little round thing, I know that. You bounced around.
Yeah, we've got a game in this list. I think that is based on kind of bouncing around, sort of gravity
okay.
is gravity and physics and stuff. But we might come to that. We'll come to that at some point.
Bouncing physics, eh? Okay.
Bouncing physics. That's the technical term. Yes, I can't. I just said that. Physics would have done nicely, wouldn't it? Really. Never mind.
Right. Let's make sure. Excuse me, while I just very quickly check my social media. There we go.
Sure.
Carry on. Yeah, good title. Do you like that kind of game, Ian?
Yeah, I'm all for a classic platformer, and especially if it's something that's managed to bring new innovation to the genre. I mean, I don't suppose you often get that. You know, in this day and age, you would have thought, you know, people have done everything you can possibly do with the standard platformer, but there's still people out there breaking the mold and bringing something new to the table, which is great to see.
Nice. Okay. And how old is this game?
This again, it's probably similar time to Werby, so summer autumn 2018. There's an original version that was released a few years before that. That is an upgraded version, which had extra levels and extra bits enhanced, and obviously a nice box.
So obviously these particular types of games, obviously you've got a physical box in your example. Are these? Where do you get them from? Do you get them direct from the publisher? And where are they advertised? Are they like Kickstarter projects or? How did you get your copy of Worthy?
That was heavily promoted on Amiga forums and Facebook groups. I mean, it's mostly that's how they get the word out for these things, really. Most of them have their own little websites, and you buy them directly from. They might get little publishers to have a look. The developers might publish themselves and create the boxes. So there's quite a few different ones. There's not really a centralised place for these things, and I think that same goes to not just in terms of buying the games, but how they get announced and where they get announced and the channels that people use to promote them. It's really weird. There's not just one place to go, and I think in the way that works against these games a bit, because I think there's so many corners in internet they're dotted about in. Yeah. And you've got the guys behind them are heavily reliant on word of mouth almost in the virtual sense.
It's from communities such as ourselves.
Yeah, indeed. And I'm quite keen on promoting these things, so I do often buy them and often post about them on our social media. And obviously, when we have meets, I tend to bring them with me. And it's nice to have something there to say, look, this has been come out recently, it's been made recently, this is pretty cool. We'll have a look at this.
And of course, there's you say there's no one source for all new Amiga news, but there is a reputable magazine that a certain reviewer, trustworthy reviewer might have written.
Feel free to plug it. Go ahead. Do your plugs. It's all good.
Yes. Here we go. I've prepared for this.
Go on. Go
how many of these games that we're looking at have you reviewed for Amiga Future?
Majority you'll see tonight I've reviewed. I'm not sure if I've reviewed all of them, but I've reviewed most of them. And even in this one, I've reviewed 2 games that we're not covering tonight. They're not box games, they're 3 games, but they weren't particularly good, I'll be honest. But not all of them are. They're okay, but not as good as some of these. But I've been doing that. I've written that magazine for about 12 and a half years now.
Oh, wow.
So that's quite a long time. I was actually 20 when I started. I feel really old.
Oh, my God.
But I've through so many, the last 5 or 6 years, compared to when I first started, there's so much more to choose from, and I don't get a review of everything. I just don't get the time. There's too much there to look at. I just can't do it. So I have to sort of pick and choose a bit, really, and I try to pick the good ones, really, now, because when you get a really average one, it's hard because you can't really write anything about it. It's like, well, it's not really that good. It's not really that bad. What can I really say? If it's really, really bad, really good, you can have more fun writing a review on it. But yeah, I think magazine it's difficult because it's not really the main source anymore, is it, for information that it used to be? They're not up to date by default.
Right.
So I think in terms of when you want to get your game out there and you want people to buy it or pre-order it or Kickstarter or whatever you might do, waiting 2 months for next issue to appear isn't really the most effective way for people to get the word out now, is it, I suppose?
I mean, what's the development time on this? Are we talking like 6 months? Are we talking a year, 2 years? I suppose it depends how many people are working on it.
It depends on so much. Yeah, the really big games, Werby must have took a couple of years, on and off. At the end of the day, it depends on other people, it depends on the complexity of the game and the ability of the people developing it and the amount of time they've got and yeah, it's just it's
that-
incredible. I think Amiga games in particular. I mean, you see a lot of games of Spectrum, the Commodore 64, and whatever. I think Amiga games are a bit different because people expect a bit more from that hardware. I think whether that's fair or not, I don't think it always is. So I think people are more conscious about polishing things up properly, so how it might look, how it might be perceived. So you see perhaps stuff take longer than you maybe expect. When people announce something, it might take, it'll be out at the end of the year, and 6 months later it still isn't out, and that's quite a common thing as well.
And you've got to remember, a lot of these, it's not like these are dev teams doing stuff for commercial purposes. These are people, evenings and weekends, probably got families, just doing it for the love of it, and not because it's their job. So
ultimately, that's what it comes down to, and that's why that's the biggest reason a lot of them take so long.
Yeah, but yeah, just the commitment that must be required. When you're not, making it with the intent of, making you millions, that commitment for such a sustained amount of time is quite admirable. Quite admirable. Right, let's see what we've got next. Let's go with Trap Runner.
Trap Runner, yeah, we've got another platform game here. We've got some other stuff on, I promise. This one, I did review this game as well, actually. This was released, I think it was early last year. Initially, actually it's a freeware game as well. But there's a box version. If you got the box version, but the actual game is free of charge. That's a side-scrolling platform game. It's really, and it looks like a million others, really, to be honest. But it's extremely polished, really well designed. It's not that original. There are a couple of nice bits in it in terms of you got potions to fill your empty blocks. If you see an outline of a platform you can't use yet, or you can change your colour to get through walls. So you kind of merge into the wall almost. The colours are the same, so you can go straight through it.
Okay.
But it's just really well designed, really slick, really attractive. Parallax scroll. It was a standard 500, and it's really colourful, really fast.
I'm imagining
really
I'm imagining the parallax scrolling as we speak. Just seeing how many layers we've got. We've got the trees, the gameplay.
You can't see from that picture almost, can't you? Really?
Yeah, you can imagine how that background moves.
Yeah, it's on the technical level. It's extremely good, extremely polished, and it runs on just standard 500. It doesn't look like it. It does run on standard 500. A lot of new mini games need a bit more than that, but that's very old school in that sense. It's also even more so. It runs on floppy disk. You can't even sort the hard drive, so that's proper old school right there. Or it's annoyingly so in that sense. I think you don't be using floppy disks forever. A lot of them don't work, but it's a lovely game. That comes with a slightly more basic. Oops, dropped more stuff on the floor. So that's like a DVD style case right there. You probably see it.
How cheap and tacky.
It was affecting the price, to be honest. But you got a manual. Nice little printed manual and a disc with a printed label, so it's not,
Nice.
It's not too bad.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Didn't even trigger that. Obviously, yeah, they're going to come on floppies as well, aren't they? As well, they're not. Yeah. It's not a digital download thing or anything like that, which quite often you get. I mean, there's a lot of there's a big scene with other. Well, I'm not going to say necessarily a big scene, but from time to time you get news of things like someone's made a new Mega Drive game as a fan project or a Dreamcast game, but generally they're made to run on emulators and modern things, whereas these games are made to specifically run on the original hardware, it seems.
Yeah. There are most of these games are digital options available, but I think the emphasis is definitely on the actual physical media and the physical boxes themselves, and it is most people are buying them to run on hardware.
Yeah.
I think it's harder to justify buying a game played emulator. It doesn't seem quite right to me. If there's something, it's not quite the same about it. I don't think there's nothing wrong with it, but it seems a bit weird. There's not much tangible value there. I don't think necessarily, as you got some physical product and the real hardware.
So Ian, have you bought any new games, for want of a better term? Have you bought any games of this age, or do you generally stick with the retro stuff yourself, or?
Well, I must say I've been slacking, really, to be honest. I keep meaning to get round to going down Graham's list and going and picking up some digital versions of some of these games, but I kind of haven't got round to it. just yet. But yeah, definitely something I'm planning on doing.
I wonder if I don't know if either of you guys know, but obviously the last 2 or 3 weeks we've been playing around with Amiga Live and like streaming stuff that way. Are these games available through Amiga Live and like those kind of sources as well, or is it a case of someone might rip them off and put them on? I suppose that's not really a nice thing to do for the community, for someone who's just toiled away for years on games and then they get whacked up on something like that. But would these become available on there, do you think, for the enthusiasts? Or
Amiga Live, probably not, because that's very much geared to multiplayer games. A lot of these aren't really multiplayer games. Of course. But I'm sure other emulation platforms you probably you can. I mean, there are ways you could stream them if you want to, but Amiga Live is the easiest way. But I think mostly some of these games are. I'm not sure the games I'm looking at tonight. Looking at the box I've got by my feet now. I don't think they are actually multiplayer, but some of the new games are multiplayer, and the free ones might end up there at some point. So it is worth keeping an eye out. Anything new that comes out that you can have more than one player on, they might stick on there.
Okay.
So that'd be quite cool at some stage if that was to be the case. I've not checked the games list. It might be if you're on there already, for all I know. I might have a look.
And Amiga Live is based on FSUAE, and everyone who uses an Amiga emulator will use WinUAE or FSUAE, or they're probably the most popular ones. And more likely, the digital versions of these games will be distributed in ADF format, which is like a disk image, similar to a ROM you might put in any other emulator. So, in effect, they're kind of, by nature of their existence, already available in UAE anyway, sort of thing. If you just shove the ADF into your emulator, just like you would with any of the old school stuff that you're emulating.
Cool. Yeah, another interesting looking game. Impressive stuff. Right, what's next? Would you like Skill Grid or Tiny Little Slug?
I think the Skill Grid, because that's not a platform game.
Woohoo! It's a different type of game!
It is very different.
Looks like a shrub.
Yeah, it is. It is sort of.
Ah, yes, now I see the ship there. I thought it was a puzzle game, actually. I thought, hold on a minute. And then I realised, okay, yeah, it's...
So you say it is a shooter up, basically. It scrolls top down, it scrolls vertically. It's parallax scroll. It's an AJ game, actually, this one, only. It does show. But it's a hard one to explain. When I show people this game, they don't really get it. I think it's more complex than it looks. It is a bit like a puzzle game. You see that you got the hexagons on the screen there?
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically, they generate randomly in the game. They're not usually red, but that's the boss fight, so they turn red. But they do different things, so you get positive, negative power-ups, and they have an effect on. You obviously want your ship, but also the game itself. You've got loads of counters on the side of the screen. You've got your lives, not your lives. You've got your health. You've got one life. You've got a timer. You've got a shield. You've got all sorts of things to keep an eye on. The stop going below zero.
Yes, I'm now noticing all these icons around the edges there.
There's loads, left and right. There's so many of the things. It is unbelievable. So you've got 4 or 5 things to keep your eye on at once. Even that, you die, basically. So you've got to get the right icons at the right time. Sometimes negative ones are actually what you need to get, because they might slow you down, or they might decrease your weapon, or they might bring up some asteroids, they might bring a massive boss on. But yeah, it's all random as well. So every single time you play it, it's completely different. They change colour. So the red ones there, if you pick any of them up, you'll die instantly. And they all do different things at different times on the start of the game. This comes in a nice big box, actually. So like, it reminds me of the old, the old double VHS cases you used to get. It's a bit
nice.
Quite thick. You open it up and you've got like a CD, which has got an actual manual in the case.
Oh, sorry. This is the CD32 game, is it?
And that's CD32 and the Bands of the Amiga game. So you've got the floppy disk and actually open these discs.
Oh, okay, got it.
Ever, not digital versions, so I didn't open them. But yeah, it's a proper. I think there's some postcards as well.
Could you run that CD in a 1200 with a CD drive, or
yes,
is it CD32 specific?
No, you can do it on both. It boots on CD32 straight away. but you can use it to others as well.
Are there enhancements with the CD32 version, or is it simply just been formatted to be able to work on both systems?
It works on both. Yeah, obviously, it's quite a small game size-wise, so it doesn't really justify using the whole CD. But it's convenient, I suppose. And it's also on hard drive, so it runs in any way you want to run it, which is quite a nice thing to have. Not every game we've seen does that, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, it's easy to run. It's easy to play. It's basically a score attack game, pretty much. But for a score attack game, it's a high score table, which is a bit of a pain. I feel a bit more could have gone into making more of that as a feature. But other than that, I'm not playing like this game ever on anything else. Nothing quite like this. I think that you have to sit and play it properly and work out it actually. It's just something that's really unusual. More it looks like the screenshot. But it really is excellent. I really recommend anyone to buy it digitally and just spend a bit of time getting to work out, because it is worth it.
Nice, very good. I haven't played a good shoot 'em up for ages. There's quite a lot out there, even of modern games. You just never hear about them. But they're still very popular.
They're a few about it. They're quite a lot. Not so much now, but certainly they go that PS2 era. There's quite a few there.
Everything these days is very much like bullet hell stuff as well, though.
Yeah.
Very over the top Japanese origin type stuff, which is great. But just a nice traditional shoot 'em up. I'd like something like that. In fact, probably the most recent shoot 'em up that I really enjoyed was, I say recent, it's probably about 8 years ago now, was actually the new Space Invaders that they did. Space Invaders, was it Extreme, I think?
Yeah.
Something like
I got that, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I got that on the 360. That is really good.
Yes, I did it on 360. And it worked, and it starts out like very traditional, and then while the gameplay is still 2D, it does a hell of a lot of like crazy 3D stuff and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I love all that.
There's a lot going on in that game, isn't there? It's mental. Yeah, that's really good. They're up to. You're right. They're not loads of them at the moment. There was a Darius game on the PS4 a couple of years ago. That was really quite good, but also murderously expensive. But other than that, they're a bit from the ground these days, which is a bit of a shame.
And particularly the side-scrolling shoot 'em ups as well are even rarer.
They are
even rarer. Is that the word? Like Resogun on PS4. That was a launch title, wasn't it? That was probably the last game of that particular style that I played.
Yeah, that was Resogun's an awesome game as well.
So yeah, it's nice that this is a nice avenue for being able to enjoy those types of games again, which is great.
Yeah. A couple more we got as well. So.
I think someone posted in the group the other day about a game that was developed for the Amiga and released in a style similar to this, that's actually been ported to and released on the Switch.
Yes.
Really? There's a lot of indie stuff coming on the Switch now, isn't there, as well?
We can discuss that one next if you want, because that's a really smooth little link. So well done, Ian. So we've got Bridge Strike, I think, that list, which is the game you're talking about. So it was an Amiga game last year. I think it's last year now. That was recent. Yeah, I think last month it was released on the Switch. Which I think is the first. I don't think we've got many Amiga games ported into the Switch before. Especially a modern one. I think that's a remarkable feat, and I think that's.
I mean, there's obviously been remakes of classics and stuff like.
There's been that, but I think for a brand new Amiga game to end up on the mainstream platform is something.
That's a real achievement.
Something very rare, isn't it? And that's an interesting development. I just wonder, actually, will that encourage more people to try the same thing? It's kind of like Amiga, almost the proof of concept or a springboard. Knock something together, and if that does well, maybe they might look at these things, sort of indie games on modern formats, and maybe make the money out of it that way.
Yeah, I've seen people do it on Kickstarter. Say, they're going to develop an indie game for, X modern platform, whatever. But as a stretch goal, we'll port it to whatever retro system.
Like classic stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Well, good. Right, what would you like next? We've got Tiny Little Slug is still in there, or Rotator.
We'll go to Rotator, because that was the one a bit whizball-like. And I thought that would be quite interesting to discuss that one.
Another one that's whizball-like. Okay, yes.
Yeah, the proper whizball-like. So this one, again, the screenshot doesn't quite give it away, but that little, you got like your little round disky thing towards the right-hand side of the screenshot. that bounces quite violently. And that you spin it left and right, so hence name rotator. So you don't don't just move left and right. You spin it. You change the you change the speed and the friction of it with your joystick. Right. It's absolutely infuriating in the extreme because you're bouncing all over the place, and you got some small platforms at the top to reach some diamonds all the time. You also got what you got in this case. You got main horizons in the ways. You got the water at the bottom. You know, main horizons, the water rises slowly towards the top, and it drowns you. You don't get a move on.
Oh, blimey, okay.
It does that as well. So you're battling against the water, not drowning you, and controls.
And can you shoot as well, or is it just more platforming stuff?
It's focused mostly around these platforms and navigating layouts, and I think there's some using later on. I can't remember. I didn't get far enough to find out actually. It's annoyed the hell out of me. But it's a platform game that's tries to be a bit different. And this actually was a game released. Well, it wasn't released. It's actually written about 1994 originally. Oh, wow. It didn't get released. I think it might have got released in Germany. There's like 3 copies in Germany or something ridiculous.
So it's a revival game. Nice.
Yeah, they've been redone, and they've not just re-released it, but they've actually improved it and added some more features. They've got an action replay features, so as you die, it will replay the level, it'll play all the actions. You can sort of hop in, pressing fire, and take control from that point and try it again, if you like. So you can kind of almost go back through time, which is quite cool. But it's a good idea. But I think it needed more playtesting that it got. I think it is written by people who are quite familiar with it and tested by people who are familiar with it, and I think they're oblivious to how hard it is to play. But they've got nice box. That's some Cytronic software. That's like a plastic case, quite thin.
Looks alright.
Got a little plastic thing. Yeah, it's quite nice.
Physical games.
It's quite nice. Yeah, they did a bigger box version as well, but that is really expensive. I'm not paying 35, 40 quid for it. That's too much. That's below 20. I think that's for what you get. It's not a bad deal. It's not a bad game. It's just it's a bit on the frustrating side, really. It's a shame.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Good game. And presumably you're going to bring a selection of these to the next Norwich Amiga Group meet, whenever that is.
Yes, I will.
Whenever that is.
But no, I will be bringing them with me.
I want to try some of these.
Yeah. Aside, there's still new stuff coming out, so I'll keep an eye on what's coming out, and I'll make sure I have it. If I can't have physical versions, I'll make sure I've got a digital copy tucked away
very good.
On the hard drive to play. So I am quite keen that people try this out. I think it's good to have something different to play as well.
Yeah, for sure. Right, I'm gonna bring Tiny Little Slug up now.
Yep.
Otherwise, I'll lose track of my list. And I've got no idea what this one looks like at all.
No. I'm not seen that part of the game yet. That's quite a big dog. Again,
I don't see a slug on here. I see a duck and a fireball.
There is a there.
There is a slug. He's crawling over the block, and he's got 2 eyes. Oh, now I see it. Yeah.
So this is quite cool. This is a bit platformy, but it's more the puzzly adventure type game as well. So it's more. I guess it's a bit Metroidvania-esque in some ways, but with a slug. Which you wouldn't expect. And because you're a slug as well, you don't just run and jump. You can actually crawl over platforms and ceilings and sort of latch onto things and climb up in that way.
From what I saw of your stream, it's all about the sort of the puzzling aspect of which wall do I have to go up and which ceiling do I have to go across to get to the next bit, sort of thing.
Yeah, and there's lots of backtracking, lots of collecting items and giving them to the correct characters. Yeah, I did a stream on this in our group. I think just must have been at the start of lockdown. That's just when I got the game, so it feels like the eternity ago now, to be honest. But yeah, it's quite tough. You also get like this. Like I guess you get the boss battle, but you get boss battles as well. So there's a certain element of having to fight things and shoot them, which are actually quite tough. But it's a really lovely little game. Again, parallax scrolling is really good, really polished and well presented and colourful. Well animated, again really slick. Yeah, it's a really great advert for a modern league game, really. I think it doesn't look like a new. It looks like it was released in that 1992, couldn't it? I mean, it has that kind of vibe to it, which I think is definitely a compliment in this case. It's probably a little bit too tough in places, but other than that, it's a really good concept and a lot of character, a lot of charm, and really well done, I think.
Good.
So is this this is relatively new, isn't it? Is this still available? Do you know
I
how
think
much?
so. Again, don't show off. This was available in March, so it's quite new. So very new, actually. They might still be available, actually. You can buy it digitally as well. But I think you can still buy it's a floppy disk and CD-ROM game, so you can buy them both.
Mm-hmm.
But that must be about 20 quid or thereabouts, I think. So it's not that expensive. That comes from Germany as well, so it's perhaps a bit more expensive shipping-wise, but it's not too bad. And again, you get like a disc, CD, and a manual, and the poster, and all the usual stuff with it. So it's nicely done, and it's a really well-produced game. So it's definitely fresh and must be worth that money, I'd say.
I want to know, does that duck move, or is it like a solid obstacle?
I've got to be honest, I've not got that far.
I want to find out.
I'm not that good at it, yeah.
I hope it's false.
Right, let's see. Where were we up to? We did Rotator, didn't we?
We did.
Right, what have we got? We've got...
Reshoot.
We've done 6 already.
Reshoot.
Yeah, we've got 3 left.
Done
6 now. 6 down, 3 to go. Let's go with Reshoot. Which is
Reshoot,
this?
yeah, or Reshoot R.
Reshoot R. Sorry, yes. Reshoot R.
Sequel to Reshoot.
I'm gonna put that name in the.
Yeah, so vital. That's part of the difference.
Reshoot R.
Yeah, this one you probably work out. It's a side-scrolling shooter.
Yes. Brilliant.
So as we talk about, yeah. It's also it's an AGA game, so it's 1232. It's extremely colourful.
Yeah.
It's really pretty, and it's quite traditional ones in most senses. But you really get one life. It's a bit weird, but if you power your ship up,
well, and that works for us. We can do a challenge on that.
Well, actually, we
featured it.
Yeah.
We've done this before. We did this at Game Festival last year. We had a competition with this game.
On your very table.
Yes.
Yeah. We did, and that was really popular. That got a lot of attention. I think it's how it looks, really. I think it's just really, really spectacular looking and sounding. And it is really difficult in a good way. So if you get a power up, you won't. You're fine. You can't die instantly, but your ship will just power down until it's at basic level and you die. So basically, your health is based on how powerful your ship is, which is perhaps not that traditional. But yeah, other than that, it's fairly straightforward shooter. Lots of things are thrown around the screen. Mm-hmm. Technically, really good. Hard as nails. I'll get level 3, I think. That's about as far as I can go.
as all side-scrolling shooters are.
Exactly. It's the obliged, isn't it? As part of the contract. It's extremely good, and it is again another game that could have been released commercially, and it's been sold as such. And I think it probably merits the 25, whatever it is, quid of it. It was the physical copy. I'm not sure it's still available physically, but say digitally it still is.
So yeah, presumably physical things. You know, whoever develops and creates these products, obviously, you know, they're not going to have some massive budget to make these games available all of the time. So they must be made in limited runs, mustn't they?
They are. That's why I don't tell you available for that long. So even go back to like 18 months ago.
Yeah.
Your solar pine box copy is available now. They are done limited quantities. Sometimes they're pre-ordered. Yes, pre-order them.
So they just make as many as are ordered, I guess. I suppose.
Yeah, I think it's just like I don't think they're like breaking even pretty much, or making a tiny bit of profit at the end of it, but not much. Nothing. It's basically making as much as they can afford.
If you had to put a number on it, I mean, what would a rough number of the number of copies made be? Are we talking 20, 50, 100? Way more? I don't know. Really.
Where have you sold several hundred copies? So they can get it was the hundreds. Some of them. I think there's enough demand there for that game for them to do that. Mm-hmm. So like Reshoot R probably must have been similar, because that was quite relatively high profile for the Amiga, and the guy who wrote it pushed it really hard. And the publishers were the same guys who published Amiga Feature magazine as well, so they used their clout behind that. So they're
Sorry. Would be interesting to know how many people, what the sales figures were like for the digital versions.
Yeah, you don't tend to find this stuff out. People don't tend to be forthcoming with that information very often, which is a bit of a shame. I know we looked at Skill Grid earlier, and that sold. I reviewed the game last summer, and I wrote bit of a rant at the beginning of the video. I think it's like 50 copies, something ridiculously low like that. I think, well, you know, this is a really high quality game, and people in crying out for high quality games said, oh, if it's good enough, we'll pay money and buy it. And then when it happens, people don't put the money where their mouth is very much. It's a real shame. But some of the games I think Reshoot are, I think Worthy were both really popular games. But you know, relatively speaking. But I'd like, yeah, people don't tend to really tell you exact numbers. I'd quite like to know exact numbers. I think it'd be really interesting. After the dust has settled, how many did they sell? How many did they make? Mm-hmm. And how that compared digitally to physical, and see, you know, what sort of market is there actually for these things. It's really, I think it's something that would be useful to know. I think it might encourage other people to get involved if they knew the numbers. They thought, actually, yeah, we can make that work.
Maybe what we're doing on the stream tonight, you should make that a feature in your next write-up that you do for the magazine, Graham. Put it on yourself to bring these people together.
Absolutely. Actually, I think it is. I think there's a way. I think there's things we should be able to find out and sort of make people public, and that can be useful information, can't it? Really useful information. I think that's something that'd be quite interesting.
For sure. Right. Crikey, it's 10 to 9 already. It's gone really quick.
No, that's going fine.
2 more games to go then. I didn't type on the full title of this one. Power Glove. Power
Glove Reloaded. Yeah.
I thought that was upside down for a minute, and then it's like, oh wait, no, it's not. It's okay.
That'd be unfortunate. So this is again a bit platform shootery. Again, this is actually really quite a big game as well. There's lots of areas to explore. So it's a bit of a mix between scrolling and flip screens. It's a bit strange. It's sort of scrolling for the most part, but you get different areas to walk into. There's a map at the bottom. You probably see right at the bottom. There's a little display. There's little rectangles right in the black bit at the bottom of the screen. So you uncover areas as you go along, and you kind of sort of discover different areas, and you get a little map of where you've been and where you need to go. Bit of power scrolling there. The really impressive thing about this is actually originally a Commodore 64 game that's been sort of enhanced, hence Reloaded in the title, by a guy called, well, his name, I assume this isn't his real name, Lazy Cow, who used to write Amiga games back in the early 90s as sort of public domain games, and he sort of kept doing it, and he's done a few 8-bit in the Amiga games since then. This is, very much platform shooting, open doors with keys and things like that, so it's fairly standard. What really impressed me about this is that it's actually an online high score table, which isn't very common for the Amiga game. So if your Amiga's connected to the internet, it will automatically upload your score to a global list and download the scores, display it on the title screen, which is sort of thing we take for granted on PS4 and Xbox and stuff like that. But particularly on the Amiga game, it's something else. You don't get that very often at all. That's very, very rare. So that's very clever, and I think that's really, I think that's sort of deserves a mention. Really, that's not something you get very often on Amiga games. Most of them aren't internet. I think it's probably why, but to have that there is really cool. That's a bit of incentive as well. So if you see someone's done better than you on, probably in America or whatever, you don't know who they are, but you think they're beating my score, I'll go for another go.
So that's the thing, Atar, the days before online leaderboards where you really genuinely thought that you were much better than you were, because you were only able to compare yourself against people that you've actually physically met. Oh.
Absolutely. There's another game in this, actually. There's another game in this, actually. That's not on this list, but it's a freeware game, sort of like Minesweeper. Mm-hmm. A game a couple of years ago. That's really quite polished. That's got an online leaderboard as well, and that's stupidly addictive. I got obsessed with that for a little while that came out, because I kept thinking, well, I'll get people placed on the leaderboard here, keep going. And yeah, it's surprising how what difference that makes. You feel people you never meet in your entire life. You probably don't know their real names, but you really want to beat them.
Right, so that is Power Glove. And lastly, we have got, to finish us off, Bridge Strike, which is very colourful.
We touched this earlier. Yeah, this is the one that's been released on the Switch recently. This is exceptionally colourful. Yeah. This is basically like, if you ever played River Raid on your C64, your Atari 2600, it's basically an upgraded version of that. So it's a top-down shooter, where you have to obviously it's very water-based. It's When you're flying along this thing, you got you got fuel as well. So you got refuel occasionally. You got fuel tanks. You sort of slow down and speed up. You can kind of fly over them and refuel more, but you got time your burst of acceleration past certain enemies or past certain bits of scenery.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know how, it's a big game. I don't know how it goes on for. I got that. I streamed this in the group a couple of months ago, and I got to that level 50 or something stupid. I've never done that before.
Oh wow.
There's no end in sight. It just went on forever. It got really, really tough. But it's a really polished and fun shooter. Lots of attention to detail. The graphics are really good. There's also weather effects, so it does often just randomly starts to rain, and you get a storm. It turns to night and day, so actually you see things light up at night. You get sort of the rain. You see the little rain splashes in the water. You get all sorts of little animations of animals and stuff on the grass. It's it's exceptional actually. The detail and how good it looks and how good it sounds. Got a nice little intro at the start. It's a bit slow on the standard 1200s or C32. It needs a bit of a boost. But if you're starting to detail the graphics, that colour in the graphics, not really that surprising. But it's a fantastic game. And that's now free as well. So you buy a box version. They made it freeware on the Amiga. Oh, wow. After I guess they sold all the copies and thought, well, making it free now. That came on 2 discs and a CD. And I think it's on Android as well, and on iPhones.
Doing great guns then. So
it's doing really well. That's a really interesting.
To the side. I've actually just looked it up on the Switch. I don't know if you can. That's going to be so small, no one's going to see that on the screen. But it is £6.29. I'm just going to see if it's a demo as well.
Be interesting to know if it's the same graphics assets or whether they've done.
I was going to try and bring up some screenshots. How do I make that full screen? Can I make that full screen? Oh, hello. There's a trailer. This is going to be quite tricky though. How can I do handheld via Discord on here? It's going to look very small in my window, but it's got some 3D assets there by the look of it.
Yeah.
I want to see some actual gameplay. That's no
trailer
good.
Or not.
That's a trailer. It's not gameplay. What? Yeah. It doesn't look like that. That's not what it looks like. Show me the actual gameplay. Come on. Oh, we're going a little bit to 2D now.
Impressive little video, though.
It is actually, isn't it?
Quite graphical style, isn't it?
There you go. There's the actual gameplay.
Yeah. That's very similar. Yeah, that's remarkably similar, actually.
There we go.
It does look like it's got extra polish for the Switch version, but
yeah, of course,
clearly. But yeah,
but you tell the same game though, can't you? You can tell.
Yeah. Steve in the chat says he's enjoying it.
Yeah, I know. He bought it. Yeah, that's really good. I think I like to see things happen more often if it can. I like to see games like even the tiny little slug we looked at earlier. That could easily be an indie game on the Switch or something. I think with a bit of polishing up. You need to add a bit more to it, obviously, but the basic concept and the basic, the gameplay is there. I think that would do quite well as a cheap game on something like that. That'd be interesting to see how idea encouraged if people can. I don't know how people make it work. They get in contact with publishers or if someone take a risk on it.
Yeah.
But I think that's really good. That's good, obviously, for the Amiga as well. But it's actually a really good thing for the Amiga scene, I think, to see that happen. I think that's part of the appeal, isn't it? This is like the Amiga.
Something that started like that and gone mainstream. Very impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I hope you'll see more of that happen. I'd like to see that encouraged to maybe, I don't know how easy it is to make that work, but there must be, if that does well, that might make other people think
it'll
the same thing.
It'll happen again.
Yeah,
but yeah. The Switch has been really good for getting like really small indie games. The other modern platforms, what they call indie games aren't always indie games, are they? They're developed by the definition of an indie studio is still like 100 people. It's like Ori and the Blind Forest, fantastic game, but it's not an indie game. Come on, not when you're actually literally being published by Microsoft of all people. But something that's a true indie game like that is. I love all that sort of stuff. Just to catch up with the chat a little bit, Stillvoid says that we should absolutely have an official Norwich Amiga Group game. And that the programmers in the group need to get started on that straight away. And high profile group members need to be boss fights. I said.
It's funny. It's actually uncanny he's mentioned that because there's obviously the obviously no one else will know this. Ian and I were talking about this yesterday, actually. I'll show you what I mentioned. He's been learning program Blitz Basic on Amiga. He's taking his first tentative steps into programming, which is really good. I'm a relative veteran, but I'm not that great. But I've played a couple of games. And we mentioned, I talked about the idea of, I wanted to, you two were obviously writing a little demo, didn't you? Or a little, very small demo game for us to use at the group. And I mentioned, well, I've written the game in the past, a Dizzy type game, sort of platform adventure type thing. And I feel, actually, could I do a version of that, but tailor it to the group and put people in the group in it and things like that?
Change a few assets from the demo and...
Yeah. I reckon you guys can work that out. That's fine. You do that. I'll promote it. You make it. You mote it. You make it. I'll promote it.
If anyone, in a serious note, though, I want to explore an idea of that at some point. If you've got anyone watching this, or who's, at some point, whether it's now or later, and who thinks, actually, I'd like to work on graphics or some music from the game, just hit me up.
Yeah,
and give me a shout. I can make that happen. I've done it before, but I can't draw Second Life. I can't make music Second Life. I can program and design levels and write some funny dialogue. But the actual mechanics are great, but the actual aesthetics I need some help with.
Yeah. If you want to toil away for 2 years' work for no reward.
Oh yes, that's basically what it is.
I reckon between us we can put a project together. That sounds like a great. That sounds.
See if we can get Mr. Aitchison to port Streets of Norwich.
Oh yes, that's a good call.
Oh, that's a great show.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll get on that as soon as I'm open and I've got all of those jobs out the way. I'll stick it on my list of things to do. We'll see if we can't get something. We can look into that. Still, Void can do some music. Keeps meaning to get into bits again.
I'm sure that'd be welcome.
There we go. We've timed it. We've timed it quite perfectly, actually, as it is now 1 minute to 9. So yeah, that was a selection of recently released new Amiga games. Amazing stuff. Who knew? Is there anything that either of you guys would like to say and or plug, etc., before we disappear?
Yes, if you don't mind.
I understand there is now an Amiga Group website, is there not?
Yes, that was funny enough what I was going to get to. I don't know
and
how
a YouTube channel and stuff.
Yeah, look, nothing on that yet, to my knowledge. But that YouTube channel is very much, it's not I set up. I thought, well, I've got a Gmail account for it, I'll do it. But if someone wants to contribute any videos to that, if anyone got anything or they want to upload, so I think, that'd be interesting. Doesn't matter what it is, really. So we're our community, and it should be for the community, and the community should contribute to making that happen. Just let me know, and I'll put your login details, you'll upload anything, or send it to me and I'll upload it. I don't know if we can put this on the channel, perhaps.
Of course we can, mate. Anything that you do with us can go on there. Yeah, we'll just duplicate it all.
Quite a cool thing to put on to start it off.
Yeah.
Like and the website's more like a blog style site, so we're using that in the future a bit more, I hope, to reach people who don't use social media. So there must be quite a few people who would love to come to our group that know about it, basically. I guess my article's written for that. And then again, if anyone wants to contribute any articles or write something for that, however long, however short, whatever subject you want to cover, then by all means, drop me a line, find me on Discord, find me in the group, find me on wherever, and just give me a shout.
There we go. Anything from you, Ian?
Yeah, I think Graham's got everything covered there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, there we go then. Awesome. We'll end it there then, fellas, if you're all right with that. Lovely job. Thank you to everyone who has watched. Thank you for the follows during the stream as well. Always welcome. Follow the Norwich Amiga Group on all of their social channels. Simply search for Norwich Amiga Group and you'll find all of their usual things. There will be, at some point, announcements coming regarding physical Norwich Amiga Group events. Once again, hopefully within a matter of weeks. But we'll all have a chat, we'll get our heads together and we'll work out what we can make that look like. But in the meantime, are we going to be back next week?
Yeah, I see no reason why not.
Yes, we will be back next week.
I'll be up that anyway.
We'll be back next week with something Amiga related. But until then, I'm going to say thank you very much to Ian, thank you very much to Graham, and we'll see you all next time. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much. Bye.